guys, Tebow2 here. Today I'll be sharing my thoughts on Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise. The series just came out today. Yeah, just comparing it today to Siege and telling my thoughts. Was it better? Was it worse? What was kind of up with it? What did I like? Etc. So let's begin. And I just want to clarify this is totally spoilers. So yeah, my first point is kind of a spoiler. Kind of. Although one of the producers did kind of speak about this in an interview. Yeah, for a series called Earthrise, it's a little strange that it is actually not set on Earth at all. And the producer said that they were kind of taking the title a little bit literally, I guess, and like they said, the Earth is rising, which it's a weird statement, but I guess it's called Earthrise. But yeah, they don't. It's the story of the Autobots' journey to Earth, not the story on Earth itself, which honestly kind of sucks because the entire toy line is made up of figures with Earth modes. So it just seems a bit stupid because everyone just has their Siege design. Barring Wheeljack, because I couldn't bother to make a frickin' Siege design for him, I guess. Bumblebee, who just doesn't look like the toy at all. Half the series, at least, is still set entirely on Cybertron, with Alita 1 and her team still there, but I don't know. I don't like that aspect really at all, the fact that it literally has nothing to do with Earth until literally the final seconds of the show, they crash on Earth. And, yeah, let's move on to some things I liked, because there were a couple, surprisingly. So, last time, one thing that I really liked about, say, the characters, I liked, for example, Megatron was probably my favorite character in Siege, and that actually carries over to Earthrise, because he gets even more kind of characterization and, honestly, development. So, in the beginning, Megatron is very desperate for Energon to get off the planet, and Shockwave, for example, wants to take all the Energon from some of Cybertron's inhabitants to power the ship, and Megatron is actually hesitant to do so, and actually, he goes down to that district, it's District 12 or something, and he literally goes there, and the Decepticons, cheer his arrival, because it shows a side of the Decepticons we don't really see much, and that's kind of civilian life, I guess. And they see Megatron as a hero. Megatron in this series, he thinks he's doing what's right for Cybertron, just like in Siege, and the Decepticons, they think of him as a hero, basically. And I like that a lot. And it, them just being so nice to him, giving him a tour of the facility and whatnot, I don't know, it just really humanized the Decepticons and characterized Megatron because he really showed some genuine, I don't know, compassion and, friendship, almost, I guess, and he was very hesitant to actually, shut down that city and steal their sparks. In the end, he ended up doing it, though. I don't know, because ultimately, I think this version of Megatron has sparks of goodness in him, but I think just over time, they just get overpowered by his evil side, his rage and whatnot, Alpha Trion, and in that there's some character development too. There was a flashback of Alpha Trion with Optimus, Megatron, and Ultra Magnus, and they were all brothers, all allies and whatnot, and we know what happened with that. So interesting. And also, the very first scene of one of the episodes is from the past, and you got Alpha Trion banishing Skylynx. Anyway, Skylynx was one that I thought was weird but interesting in a way. He kind of mirrored his G1 self in that he was very boastful and arrogant, but in this series they kind of took that to an extreme, to the point of him being flat out power hungry or something, because he wanted the Matrix so bad that Alpha Trion had to banish him to the dead universe or whatever. It was sort of neat that he kind of like, after seeing that clip of him being so violent, I guess, about his ambition, and then just seeing like how he talked about how the dead universe, like just being alone with his thoughts, humbled him, I guess, and then he kind of was redeemed and sacrificed himself to save the Autobots. I don't know, it wasn't very well developed, honestly, but they tried to give this guy a character arc, I guess, so whatever. So yeah, just overall, that's kind of my general stuff on the characterization, is that they tried a little harder in this one, but I don't know, a lot of it kind of fell a bit flat, because a lot of characters I still felt weren't that great. Voice acting kind of just got worse. I didn't like it in Siege. A lot of the characters, some of them seemed like they were doing imitations of the G1 selves, like Optimus, kind of Jetfire, a couple of others. But like overall, there were still ones that I didn't like. I liked Optimus even worse in this series, or hated him more, however you want to say it. Yeah, like I said, his voice sounded fine and kind of like Peter Cullen until he raised his voice, and he did that a ton in this series. There was just scenes and scenes in a row where he was just yelling the entire time for no reason, some of it even. And yeah, that's when his voice did not sound like any version of Optimus ever, or even like an Autobot, honestly. I did not like the voice. I didn't like Shockwave either, but like he's growing on me a little bit. Speaking of Shockwave, one thing I liked about him character-wise is yeah, he actually went on more of a, I thought like in Siege he was going to be more of a G1 cartoon kind of inspiration where he's just totally loyal to Megatron, but in this it's almost more like the G1 comics where he was like on the surface loyal but then had his own agendas and stuff. So yeah, very interesting, honestly. I actually thought Shockwave was a little better developed in this. And a little more interesting, but still don't like the voices on most of the characters, honestly. Yeah, there's one I didn't like, Ironhide. Ironhide sounds really young in both this series and in Siege. I don't know if I mentioned that last time. And then it really just rubbed me the wrong way, because at the end, Bumblebee calls Ironhide Kid. I did not like that. It fits with his new voice. He sounds younger. He's no longer like one of the oldest Autobots, I guess, but I don't know. I don't like that. It's weird. Lots of little references and stuff. I like the bit where kind of Galvatron comes along. That took me a little bit by surprise in the trailer, at least. That obviously spoiled it for the actual show. Galvatron was kind of cool. A little bit at least. And he did the whole prophecy thing to Megatron. To become Galvatron, he'd need the Matrix or whatever, and so he steals the Matrix, and I'm pretty sure that's the last we see of that. Galvatron appearing in, like, the green grid, kind of like when Unicron reformats him in the G1 movie. Obviously, that's a big reference. Lots of other stuff. He's obviously kind of a slave to Unicron in this, which, yeah, it annoyed me that Unicron was literally shown in the trailer. And then the exact shot we got in the trailer was the only shot of Unicron we actually got. So yeah, why would they even put Unicron in the trailer if he was only going to be on screen for like the exact amount of time, which is like a matter of 2 seconds and like one voice line, I think. Yeah, that was stupid. And the few things I did like were mostly carryovers from what I liked in Siege, so there's not a lot to like, in my opinion, about this show specifically, I guess. Like, not even the mercenaries were that good, in my opinion, but those are some instances in which they were pretty lazy in the animation, and I didn't appreciate it much. And then the Coneheads, I don't know, I feel like the Coneheads I can kind of forgive. They were just carryovers of the main Seeker body type from the series, and they did have the Coneheads, which was nice. But I think I can kind of forgive them in a way because, like, for all we know, that could be what their Cybertronian modes are supposed to look like, so that's fine. That didn't really bother me. But it's a little weird how they're mercenaries in this. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't feel like there's like a ton really to say in too much detail about this series. It's just a lot of the same I said about Siege. There are things I like, things I don't like. Despite all this, I am excited for Kingdom. At least let me rephrase that. I'm excited for the Kingdom toy line still, because I like Beast Wars a lot. So I like the toy line. I'm gonna get all the Beast Wars characters probably. No G1 characters, because I don't know. I don't want them. But in terms of the cartoon, I'm losing a lot of excitement about that because, yeah. I keep being excited for these series, and they just keep disappointing me. So, yeah, in general, final verdict of Earthrise is it didn't live up to expectations, basically. One thing that did kind of excite me about the next show, honestly, is when they finally crash on Earth. You see, like, you see a velociraptor. You see a velociraptor come out of the leaves, and then the eye glints, implying it's Dinobot. And of all the characters from Kingdom to tease, Dinobot. If you know Beast Wars, you know Dinobot. That is exciting. He is the figure from all of Kingdom I'm most excited about. But yeah, these have been my thoughts on Transformers Earthrise. Take the word Earth out of the title. I have been Tebow too. Goodbye.